My name is Robert H. Brown. I was born and raised in DeLand. I'm 77 years of age, and I'll be glad to tell you anything that I know about DeLand. I lived here all my life, with the exception of 4 years when I was in the Navy in World War II, and about 25 years when we lived in New Jersey. But we knew at some point in time, God willing, we'd like to return to DeLand. When we moved to New Jersey, we went and did this with my brother-in-law in the tire business. We had 3 children at that time, and then, as I say, we moved to New Jersey. The children were young. The oldest child was kindergarten age. I mention this because it was important to us not to interrupt their education process. So we did move to New Jersey, and we had 3 more children. And so they only knew New Jersey schools. I'm not just sure what we want to talk about.
Okay, you were born, what was your birth date now?
I'm born September 4, 1921 here in DeLand.
Tell us about your parents.
Yes. Okay. My mother was a native of nearby Orange City, and my father was a native of Milford in Pike County, Pennsylvania. He came down here. His family moved down here when he was about 10 or 12 years old.
And what was his name?
My father's name was Robert H. Brown. I'm Robert H. Brown, Jr.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your mother's name?
My mother is Sarah Hargraves Brown.
Okay.
And
why did your father move down here?
my father moved down to DeLand because his mother had asthma, and the doctors told them that Florida would perhaps be an ideal climate and should be far more comfortable. So they moved down here. My father, and he had one brother, Earl Brown, who was like 4 years older than my father, and they moved to DeLand, of course, and they loved DeLand. And
did they bring their parents with them? Did you?
Yes, when they came down, there was 4 of them that came. The parents and Earl and Robert, in that order, age-wise. So DeLand is our home. We love it very much, and to tell you anything that you think would be of interest.
Okay, what your father's occupation and the work that he did?
Well, my father, I guess he used several different businesses, an automobile business and an oil business, and he was also in the hotel business, which might be of interest. The Hotel Putnam, which is kind of a landmark here in DeLand, was built in 1921, I believe.
Your grandfather played a role in that.
My grandfather did. My grandfather was an architect, and he built the hotel.
His name was?
His name was Barnabas Edward Brown. He built the hotel for private interest, not for themselves. I think it was the Frankie Harold Corporation, but they had some difficulty, financial difficulty with the hotel, and things worked out whereby my grandfather always thought that was a good work that he had done, and was very, very fond of it. And so they had an opportunity to purchase. He he had an opportunity to purchase a hotel because of the problems that they were having making ends meet, so to speak. So that's what happened. He bought the hotel, and then when he died, it fell to my father and his brother Earl.
Do you know how much he paid for the hotel?
I do not. I do not know.
Do you know the year that he bought it? Was it right in the beginning there?
It was definitely in the 20s.
Yeah.
And so my father and my uncle operated the hotel for a number of years, and then things developed whereby my father bought out the interests of his brother Earl, because Earl had some other interests, and my father seemed to like it very much. So anyway, that's what happened.
That was a big hotel. What were the
125 rooms.
Okay, and what?
It's a big hotel for the town of DeLand size.
Yeah, what were the original plans? Why did they build a hotel like that?
Well, I think they. Well, don't forget, here we are in Florida, and the tourists would come down every winter, and it was thought to be a good investment, and over the years, I think it has proven to be. We had well, so anyway, my father, my uncle, and I guess not to make it too disjointed, I went to 12 years of public school here and 4 years at Stetson, and then shortly after or not shortly after, during the time I was at Stetson, World War II broke out, and so I went. I went in the Navy. I don't know why I chose. Yes, I do know why I chose the Navy. First of all, when war broke out, I didn't want to be drafted. I wanted to volunteer and perhaps get in the branch of the service that I thought I could best serve or like pretty well. And so I chose the Navy because my father had been in the Navy in World War I. So I was halfway through my academic. I was, of course, at Stetson, and so I joined a Navy program called B7, which would permit me to graduate, since I'd already had half my requirements in. I almost had 3 years. So I did that, and then when I graduated from Stetson, 3 days later they sent me to Northwestern University in Chicago. I was a 90-day wonder. You know, they throw a lot of things at you in 3 or 4 months' time, and you absorb as much as you can. So anyway, I did like the Navy and served in it, and we went to Northwestern, and I got my ensign's commission, and along with there was 1,400 in our class at that particular time. They knew what was ahead. They were gearing up for the Normandy invasion. So I was in the amphibious force and that type of thing. And so after well, I don't think it'd be much interest at all I did in the service, but I enjoyed my time in the service. I spent about a year and a half in the European theater. As I say, we were involved in the Normandy invasion. Then we got a 30-day leave. We came home, and ship was in Brooklyn Navy Yard, and need to be upgraded and patched up and all that. So they gave us a 30-day leave. We came back, and then we went out in the Pacific.
Do you have any memories of the invasion?
Indeed, I do.
Normandy. Can you talk about that?
Well, yes, I can. Of course, that's June 6, 1944, and we thought it was going to be 2-3 days earlier, but you know, so anyway, it was June 6, 1944, and we were at the time we were in Aikman. We were geared to go as soon as Eisenhower would give the word, and so that particular day, June the 6th, we'd been ready for 2 or 3 days, so we were. But then when we started across the channel, which doesn't take long. It's a small body of water, but a pretty rough and cold, even in the summer. So anyway, the invasion took place, and we were at a beach called Gold, G-O-L-D, Gold Beach. We attempted to establish 6 beachheads, and all of them were fairly successful. I was quite fortunate at Gold, but in making the crossing, I thought you'd look overhead, you couldn't see anything but airplanes. You look in the sea there. We had great support from our Navy ships. See, I was on what's known as an LST, slang large slow target, but what the LST did, they carry the troops, tanks, trucks, all mechanized equipment. It's 330 feet long. I mean, it's a pretty good sized ship, but it's very functional. It's not geared to defend itself. It's geared to do a job. That's why you've got to go in a convoy, or you should. So, the invasion went very well. And in fact, it went so well that I and some of my shipmates thought this thing's going to be over in 3 or 4 days. That's the way. See, that's your mindset, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, that was far from.
Did that mindset change as you approached the beach?
No.
No.
No. As we approached the beach, it was even more awesome. You have to understand, this is probably the biggest military operation, certainly in my lifetime, and you also have to understand that everybody on that ship was there because, boy, he wanted to be. It was supposed to be the war to end all wars, and we were very proud of what we hoped to do.
Yeah.
And so my ship, we made 36 crossings of the channel over a few months, one about every 2 weeks. And we were extremely fortunate. Now, several of those beaches, like Omaha Beach, we finally did establish ourselves there, but terrific loss of life. And so, anyway, I don't think we want to talk too long about this, but so war is a horrible thing. You know, you see a lot of things that they're not too good. You see some terrible things, but
Did you see some things that you tried to forget?
oh yes. In fact, after I got out of the Navy, I was in the Navy 4 years, and we were fortunate enough to do a lot of travel, quite a bit of traveling. And we went over to France, and my wife said, "Well, I want you to take me down to Normandy." I said, I put it off. I said, maybe we'll do it another time. I don't want to give the impression that we could afford to travel all that much, because we couldn't. But there's some pretty bad things there so finally, year after year went by, and we'd been to France, but never to Normandy. And so when it came, we had the 50th anniversary of D-Day. I said to Dot, now I'd like to go, if you would, you'd go. So we did, and see, I'd gone to Paris. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but Paris is a great, beautiful city. But in my judgment, they didn't give a darn about us. They might like our money a little bit. But so anyway, I didn't have a real good feeling about that, and so. But I said, now's the time to go if we're ever going to go, because time is running out. And so we went on a tour that was sponsored somewhat by the Navy and also private enterprise. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it doesn't make any difference. But I was so glad that we finally went. It was 2.5 weeks. It started in London, and it kind of retraced our steps somewhat. And it was really, it was. I'm just so glad that we made the decision to go, because it meant so much to us. It meant a lot to my wife, obviously, but. The people in England and in Normandy, they treated us like we were some kind of heroes, which we were not. But they showed their love and respect for us, which was gratifying. And then, of course, it all culminated on June the 6th. We went to the beaches there, and had these beautiful parks and cemeteries. It's really an inspiration. Maybe even prouder to be an American.
Okay, I want to go back to the beginning. You were born. You were telling us about where you were born.
I was born. I was born in DeLand, right here where we are. Can we tell you?
Yeah.
You could almost say literally where we are, because I was the first baby that was born in this hospital, September 4, 1921.
Right here. Okay.
Right here.
Yeah. And tell us about your childhood. What it was like growing up in DeLand.
Well, in a word, it was wonderful. DeLand's a small town, still is, but back in those days, you could walk downtown and you would know everybody you saw. You didn't have to worry about locking your house, that anyone would break in, or it was just a wonderful place to live. I think it still is, but we got a gate around our house and we lock our doors. It's a bit different.
Do you recall some of your childhood friends?
Oh yeah.
Some of their names? Can you tell us some of their names?
Well, a name that would be familiar, I think, would be Bob Conrad. He was just my age, as we were in the same class together, and he pioneered the DeLand family. In fact, the baseball park, Conrad Park, was named after his family.
And Earl Brown Park was named after your brother.
My uncle, Earl Brown.
Your uncle.
My father had one brother, and that was Earl.
Okay.
And yeah, Earl Brown he contributed a lot to the city of DeLand. He was mayor, he was city manager, and he was he was a showman. He would, like, they had the Volusia County Fair here once a year. Well, he used to run that every year, but he went beyond that at the New York World's Fair and Chicago World's Fair and the Great Lakes Exposition. He put Florida on the map with the Florida exhibit was always #1 in all those ventures, and he was really literally a showman. I called him Uncle Earl, and I wish somebody had done what you're doing now with Earl.
With Earl, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember much about him as a man, his personality, what kind of person he was?
Well, he was a very, very outgoing person.
Yeah.
He loved people, particularly he loved children. He had 2 daughters and no sons. And as a youngster growing up, he was a great woodsman and hunter. He used to take me quail hunting and fishing and things like that. Things that I will never forget. I think it was a wonderful influence on my life.
Now, what were some of the schools that you went to?
Well, here in DeLand, I think I pointed out, I went to Dempsey Brewster Grammar School, and DeLand Junior High, and then DeLand Senior High, and then Stetson University.
You graduated from high school when?
1939.
Okay. Do you remember some of your classmates at any of those levels of school?
Oh yes, I do. I mentioned Bob Conrad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's see. There's the Nordmans, the Norman family. It's a big family because 2 brothers married sisters, and they had a big family. I would also mention the Mercer family, the Tatum family, Spalding family. Oh, there was all kinds of.
Do you remember some of your teachers?
Oh,
You had some favorites?
Yes, I did. When I look back on it, the ones that I thought I didn't like quite as much was really the ones because they were teaching me something. Alice Van Cleef is one. Lovely lady. She lived in Glenwood, and she was truly amazing. Betty Ford. Her name is Betty Ford Hutchins. She's married to retired Admiral Hutchins here in DeLand. A lot of wonderful teachers. I remember at Stetson University, Brady Cowell, who was the athletic director and football coach. It might be of some interest. In 1938, while I was still in high school, Brady took the Stetson football team to Gainesville to play the University of Florida, and Florida had 99 players sitting on the bench, and he had 22, and we beat them 16-4. I say we. I was a high school student when all of DeLand went out to see the game in Gainesville.
Yeah.
And I loved. Then I went to Stetson, and Brady Cowell was kind of my, if you will, my role model. A wonderful person.
What did you study at Stetson?
Business. I got a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want to go back to the Putnam now. You were a young boy when your grandfather built that, and they started running it.
oh yes, well, it was built in 21, the year I was born.
Mm-hmm. Do you recall growing up around the Putnam and what was going on as you were a child?
Oh yes, I do.
Can you tell us about that?
I'll tell you a little bit about that. The Putnam was a winter resort. We like to say that our season was November to May. I say we like to put it that way, but actually our peak time was right after Christmas, say January, February, and March. I often wish the season was longer, but that was pretty much the situation. Now we didn't close the hotel during the summer months. We closed the top 2 floors. Mm-hmm. Now that's different from the situation that Florida is a year-round resort now.
Yeah.
When we were operating the hotel, I wish that had been the case, because of course you like to be busy all the time. But
describe those busy times around the hotel. What was going on around there, as you recall, as a child during the peak season?
Well, during the peak season, as I say, our guests would come down, and well, there's 2 kinds of basically in the hotel business: American plan and European plan. Now, American plan is whereby the guests pay so much per week, let's say, and it includes all the meals. European plan is just the room. Now we catered to the American plan because the people that we attracted that were interested in coming to DeLand and to the Putnam were retired, and they were interested in the niceties, you might say. They wanted they like to have a comfortable room. Southeastern exposure is the best. In the dining room they wanted the same table every year. They have a certain waitress, that type thing. So we attracted that kind of clientele.
How did they come down? How did they arrive here?
Well, one way they didn't come was an airplane. They came one of 2 ways. They came on the train or they drove down. If they drove down, probably took about a week. They stopping along the way. In fact, when they left, one of the things that I did was recommend where they'd stop each night, make the reservations for them, to do that type thing. That was kind of fun.
Where were most of them from?
Most of them are from New England, and then also New York and Pennsylvania, but from the eastern, most of them.
But did you have some responsibilities around the hotel?
Well, when it started out, my father, after he bought out Errol, my father was a general manager of the hotel, and I was like his assistant. I did a little bit of everything. It was fun. I'd be a bartender one day, and run the elevator, bellhop, the when you're in the hotel business, you have to stop and remember this. That's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
So it's a very demanding business, but it has its reward. I loved it in many ways. One thing we did, there was about 6 weeks there near the end of the season when spring training was baseball. We had the Boston Red Sox in here, not the parent team, but the top minor league teams, and so that was. It was getting near the end of the season. That was a bonanza to the hotel to have that to kind of close out the season. So
yeah.
we look forward to that every year.
Do you remember any other guests?
Well, we had Cordell Hull here, a Bert Fish, who's also a DeLand native and was a minister to Egypt. When he died, he left in trust. He provided for some hospitals still bear his name here in Volusia County. Mm-hmm. We have a condo in New Smyrna, and some of my grandchildren were down. One of them fell and broke her arm. Well, Bert Fish Hospital is right there. So DeLand had a lot of people would come down. St. John's River offers wonderful opportunities for like bass fishing. In fact, Tom and Dick Flowers are no longer with us, but their son Bill Flowers is. They became almost world-renowned as fishing guides. Yeah. So there's a lot of things like that.
Yeah. Do you recall the Putnam being pretty successful from the beginning? Was the tourist trade there, or did it take a while to build up some trade?
I'd say it was. I'd say we from the beginning. Well, let's put it this way: we were able to earn a comfortable living there, but as we got into it, the business did grow, and as I said before, January, February, and March we were extremely busy, and so it had its own rewards, but. You better be ready to you better be ready to work, because you have a staff there, and what happens if the cook doesn't show up? So you
How
learn.
large was your staff?
I would say about 80 people. Mm-hmm. At the height.
What did it cost to stay there?
Well, back in the 60s, if you wanted to stay American plan, it cost about, it'll probably sound ridiculous, around $20 to $25 a day, and that would include all your room and all your meals.
In the 60s?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, more properly, maybe I should say the 50s. All during the 50s, late 40s, and
do you recall the Great Depression?
I grew up in it.
What was the impact on the family business then?
Well, at that time, we were not operating the hotel. We were not operating the hotel then. Well, I guess we did. I guess we did during the late part of the. Well, nobody had much of anything. But you make out. Nobody felt sorry for themselves. I had a little savings account in the bank, and it was gone. Everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah. Okay. The family sold the Putnam then in 1959?
In '59, that's correct.
What was the circumstances? What were the circumstances at the time that
What
made you decide that you needed to sell them?
Well, first of all, we had some interest, and there was a corporation from Chicago that was interested in buying the hotel, and I think they had bought several other hotels, and expressed an interest. And at that particular time, my father and my mother and I wasn't married at the time. The three of us made a painful decision that we need to either sell the hotel or pump a lot of money into it, because it needed renovation. We had, like, for example, air conditioning that was coming in back in those days, just starting kind of. Well, we had about 50 or 60 of these window units. Well, what we needed to do was have central air conditioning like we did the heating. We needed a lot of new furniture in the various rooms, and we needed a general overhaul. And those things can be done, but so we had to weigh: was it a good decision to do that and make the additional investment, or if we had an opportunity? Now, my mother and I kind of like were in favor of selling it. Now, my father wasn't sure. Well, he was, but it was difficult for him, since he's been in the family all these years. You know, he and his father and his brother and so forth. It was more difficult for him. He knew that we should. He thought we should, but so it was difficult. But we made the decision to do it, and then something happened. My father wasn't in the best of health, and he had an automobile accident whereby crushed the steering wheel, and he only lived a couple of days after that. And the people we've been negotiating when they knew that had happened, they stepped aside and said, "We'll come back in a month or so," and so that's what they did. So when we sold the hotel, my father wasn't there, but he had already said, "Hey, it's the thing to do." But so God operates in mysterious ways.
Where was the accident?
The accident happened on West New York Avenue. It happened on West New York Avenue within the city limits, and in fact, I saw him. A friend of the family called and said, "You know, your dad's been in an accident. It's not bad." So what happened was, a car ahead of him was making a left turn. At that time, a bee got in the car. He was trying to whisk him out of the car, and he was going about 25 miles an hour. But when you're going 25 miles an hour and you have a collision, its impact is pretty good. So I think medical science, he had an aneurysm 28 hours after it happened, and he was gone. Well, I went to see him in the hospital, and he had a little pain in here, but, you know, so we lost him.
Yeah.
He at that time, he was just like 65.
Mm. Do you recall back to the Putnam again, do you recall the sale price?
When we sold it?
Yes.
Yes, I do. It was $200,000.
Mm-hmm. You don't recall the purchase price in the beginning, though?
No, I don't. I don't. I don't know.
Here's one for you. Where did the name Putnam come from? Who named the hotel?
I think there was an old General Putnam. Perhaps he was prominent in the Civil War. I think that's where it came from.
Who came up with that name?
I'm not really a historian, but it's always been that way. So what can I say? But,
okay, all right. Let's see now. You sold it in '59. You were in your mid to late 30s at the time.
Yeah.
What did you do after that?
Well, when we sold the hotel, I had several opportunities. I had no idea ever leaving DeLand. I had several opportunities in DeLand, and I was exploring them. But almost immediately when this happened, my brother-in-law, his name was Jack Apgar, A-P-G-A-R. We have an Apgar in DeLand now. It's very, very prominent, and
No relation.
no relation. A lot of people ask me, but he's a heck of a guy. Anyway, so my brother-in-law was in the trucking business with his father in New Jersey, and he was working for his father just like I was working for my father in the hotel business. My brother-in-law, Jack Apgar, was thinking about going into the tire business of it, and he said he called me a couple of times, and we had no idea about going up there. That reverses the trend. All the traffic's coming this way. So in any event, he said, "Well, listen, you come up. At the very least, you'll have a vacation. We have 3 children. You come up and stay with us, and we'll look it over." So anyway, long story short, we went up there, and it looked like a fantastic opportunity, and I was very pleased that he thought that I would fit in there, and so we did it, and it went very, very well. And in fact, I was there like 25 years. And we grew from one location to I think 32. Do you know Boulevard Tire here in DeLand?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, Earl Colvin, my second cousin. That's Earl Brown was his grandfather. Okay, I'm not getting off the track. I'll come back. But anyway. He has a great operation there. Now, our locations that we had up there in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, all up into New England are very similar to his. In fact, when we first retired, came down here, Earl was starting in the tire business, and he said he wanted to pick my brain. I said, "There's not much left up there," but you know, I'm very proud of what Earl's done. But what I'm saying is, if you look at one of his stores, they're just like a carbon copy of the kind we had up there. So
when you went up there, you had 3 children?
Had 3 children.
And who were they?
Vicky is the oldest one, and then Terry, and then Martha. And we went up to New Jersey, and I said the climate's a lot different up here. I told my wife that. I said, now we'll have our boys. So we had 2 more girls up there. So that's the extent of our. Now we have our 5 daughters who I think of. I'm very prejudiced, but I think they're all fine young ladies, and they're all college graduates. They all have nice families, and so we feel we have a great deal to be thankful for.
Yeah. What about during the years that you were living in DeLand, your community involvement? Did you get involved in civic organizations, politics?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing we're involved with and still are is our church. We belong to St. Barnabas Episcopal Church. And back in those days, there was a wonderful priest we had, Father Lawson. Everybody loved him. So the church, and then that was the big thing. And then also, I was in DeLand JCs at the time, and then after that I was in the Kiwanis Club, things like that. And
who were some of the officers in the clubs, some of the community leaders that you recall?
Well, Jim Ed Summerhill, he later was a mayor of DeLand. Kurt Gumby was there. Three generations of the Gunbys are still very, very prominent in DeLand. When I was in the JCs, Bucky Blunt, a prominent attorney, a judge, Doug Teal, John Weimer, so many.
Had you always planned to come back to DeLand after your
Yes.
time out there?
We knew at some point in time when it came time for us to retire that we would like to come back to DeLand, God willing, and particularly because when we moved to New Jersey, well, particularly because my wife, even though she had come to love DeLand so very, very much, and she was, in fact, when we left, nobody. See, we've been married 7 or 8 years when we went to New Jersey, and when we let the word out that the decision has been made, we're going to make this move. So a lot of our friends were, we had farewell parties. The thing they were really very, very upset and sad about, they weren't concerned about me, it was my wife. They hated to see her leave.
Was your wife involved in
everything?
What kinds of groups was she involved in?
Well, she was in the church like we both are. She was in the Junior Welfare League, the Garden Club, PEO. I'll put it this way, if I can stay within 10 paces of her, I'm all right.
Well, we need to get her over here and interview her.
Oh yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say it. Don't tell her I said that, but get her over here. She's a good interview.
Okay.
But I appreciate you guys asking me over here. I commend you for the work that you're doing, because I know it's all volunteer work.
Well, we appreciate you coming by today. Is there anything that we've missed that you'd like to tell us about?
There probably is a lot of things, but I'm not very good at remembering them. No more than to say that we love DeLand, and I think it's a great place to live and bring up a family. Although I took mine up there.
When you came back from New Jersey, where did you live? Did you keep a house?
Oh no, we came back from New Jersey. We didn't. See, my mother was here all those years. She lived to be 91, but she died in 1994, I think it was. So no, we didn't have a place. So when we came back, we did two things. I knew I was going to be retiring, so we looked over at, we liked New Smyrna Beach. When I was a kid growing up, we all went to Daytona Beach. Forget New Smyrna Beach. But now it's the other way around. New Smyrna Beach is, we didn't live in DeLand. I think we'd like to live in New Smyrna. Daytona Beach is, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it's grown so fast that there's certain parts of it that are not the greatest in my opinion.
Yeah.
So what we did, we found a condominium in New Smyrna Beach called Moontide. We still have it. So that was in 1983. It was halfway built. So we were able to buy it at a very good price. So we. Now you might say, well, why didn't you get your place in DeLand? Well, we knew we were going to get DeLand, but several places I was interested in hadn't opened up. So I said, we want this place for ourselves and mainly for our children and grandchildren. When they come down, that's where they want to be. And the place that we wanted, we had several places in mind, but hadn't quite opened up yet. But we have a lovely old home in DeLand. It's on New York Avenue, kind of like in town. It was built in 1906, and my aunt and uncle lived there. Max and Ibby Acree. That's the DeLand family too. And my aunt, Ibby Acree, we have her house because she wasn't in very good health, and so those things happen that way. And so when she died, I'd always liked the house. It's a beautiful house, but I never looked at it through the eyes of a prospective owner because they have a big family. Well, they couldn't decide among the family who would have the house. They had two children, Terry and Elizabeth. She lives in Jacksonville. Terry's here in DeLand. And they didn't want it. And they had a lot of children. They had their grandchildren. But there was going to be a big fight to see who was going to get it. And so Terry said, Bobby, you need to get that place. I said, well, we can talk about it. And he said, you got to keep it in the family. So I said, okay, we'll talk about it. Because the more I thought about it, we kind of liked it. We did like it. We loved it. So Terry said, I got to keep it in the family. So then we talked about it. We negotiated back and forth. And I said, Terry, you said we got to keep it in the family. Therefore, where's the family price? So we went from there, friendly.
Yeah.
Well,
during the Putnam years, did the family live at the Putnam or off?
No. Next door to the Putnam, exactly next door, to the east of it, there's a lovely old home there. It's still there. That's where my mother lived until the day she died. So that's where I kind of grew up, me and my two sisters. And then when I got married, there's a kind of like a cottage or a garage apartment behind it, and that's where my wife and I started out. So there's a lot of history there.
Yeah.
But it was all wonderful.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you both.